Thank you for joining us. This is SY Social Club Live. Usually we record these shows and there's maybe a little bit of editing that needs to be done to make it seamless. Tonight, there is no editors. There is nothing to make it seamless. It's just some people on a Zoom call reading poetry and seeing how it goes. So yeah, it's going to be a really great night. We've got a fantastic lineup. We're going to keep it as close to the SY Social Club vibe as we can, but just live. So probably even more chaotic. So yeah, I'm one half of Sonnet Youth and one of your co-hosts tonight. I'm Kevin P Gilday, and we have Kat Hepburn as well. Kat, would you like to say hello?
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. It's been a day of lots of fun stuff. We've had poetry and a cooking lesson and a talk, and it's just been loads of fun. So thanks for everyone turning up to this part of the night. I'm really excited because this is the part of the night that I'm having a drink. So this is where the real fun starts. As Kev said, it's unedited, it's unfiltered, it's warts and all. We are just going to go for it. And our four performers tonight, we're really excited. We've got some guests that we have had on before and a guest we've never had on before as well. So we've got Jim Monaghan, Leyla Josephine, Rachel Jackson, and our headliner, Tawona Sitholé. So we are totally buzzing about this lineup, and we know you are too. Because you are here, let us know you're enjoying the show by typing in the comments. Other than that, just sit back, grab a glass of wine or a beer, and enjoy the show.
Yeah, definitely. And like all social club shows, we have to start off with a poem from one of our hosts. So Kat is going to do the honours for us tonight. So everyone at home, have a wee drink, put your hands together, and welcome to the stage, Kat Hepburn.
Woo, thank you. I'm going to do one from a new book, Dating and Other Hobbies. I didn't do this at the book launch, and I'm not going to do it tomorrow at my reading. And I like to just set the tone when I'm going first with these things. So this will just let you know what kind of a night you're in for. It's called Fuck. Fuck. What is this? Friends with benefits. Benny friends. Netflix and chill. Penetration ship. A fuck. Fuck buddy. I want to fuck you. No, I want to be fucked by you. Because fucking is what me and you do best. Let's try anal sex, yes, with zero preparation or mature discussion. Let's just do it. I'm spontaneous, fuck it. Let's discuss who we fancy with zero jealousy or hidden agenda. Talk to me not about gender inequality or COVID-19 or the plummeting economy or neoliberal ideologies, but low impact, shallow stuff like selling sunset, wanking, or crufts. Fetch me tepid tap water in a mug when I'm rough. Just never, ever offer to treat me to brunch. Breathless and sticky, twisted sheets, drunken, hot and messy, sweaty sex with you is the best. Disturbed only by the chorus of birds outside, because we both know in daylight there's less places to hide. In the real world, there's unopened bills, an office job with a dickhead boss, and dentist appointments that reminds me I should floss. And it's my cousin's christening next week, and shit, I need to pick her up a present. I can't believe I almost forgot. I like that you don't know my star sign, or my middle name, or my surname. I'm guessing, judging by your demeanour, that your political leanings are probably in keeping with mine, but I haven't asked. We have a laugh. We WhatsApp. Predictably, sporadically, the chat always ramps up on a Friday around 3. We've never eaten a Chinese, hungover in skanky jammers, splayed and bloated in front of trash TV. You've seen me only at my best, legs shaved, hot dress, spanking Tesco Prosecco with reckless abandon, fun, flirty, happy girl. That's me. There will be no subtitled indie movie nights, no smelling your hair, no peeling off your socks with my toes, no petty arguments or slamming doors, no will you pick your fucking boxers up off the floor. Don't worry, fuck buddy. We're cool. I'll never fall in love with you. Thank you. Oh, right. Now we've got the fucks out the way. Now we've got the dirty gutter chat. It gives me great delight to invite our first guest of the evening to the stage. Jim Monaghan is nothing short of a poetry legend. He's paved the way for all of our spoken word careers. Jim, how are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Yeah, I didn't know that I'd paved the way for so many things. It's good to know.
You did.
I don't believe it though. I don't believe you.
It's true. You were one of the first people that I saw perform, and yeah, I've always looked up to you. See, that's me being quite genuine and serious.
That's great, and I feel great now.
So it's good to have you. So what have you been up to this week?
I was quite busy this week because I was writing a couple of things for Bella Caledonia, annoying people on social media about the election. Had a wee show. I had a weekly show for Mark McGee. You call that politics, about the election and stuff. So I had had quite a bit going on this week, and even went to the pub once. It's great, isn't it?
You went to a pub, a real life pub?
I went to 2 yesterday actually. 2 in the afternoon. It was great.
And yeah, how was
nice.
The weather?
It was a bit cold, but it was like just. I've really missed that. I don't drink at home, so I've really missed pubs. So and the sort of difference, just that human contact and talking shite and all that. Just really missed it. It was great.
Nice. And so, did you get pissed really quickly because you've not been drinking much?
Absolutely, I was really terrible. I'd been once before the opening night when the Rum Shack reopened. I went and felt terrible. And this one, after 3 pints, I was like a complete and utter wobbly. It was great.
Well, it sounds like you're a cheap date now, which is good.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, Jim, what are you going to do for us tonight?
I've got some new poems and some old poems for you. Couple of my lockdown poems and things like that, and an oldie election type poem. I think it's 5 altogether. Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Sounds like it's very on brand for you. So everyone at home, please make lots of noise for Jim Monaghan. Woo-hoo!
Thanks, Kat. I want to start by thanking Sonnet Youth for asking me. It's quite a stellar lineup, this. So it's a bit of an honour to take part in a weekender with some of my favourite writers here. And I'm going to start and end with COVID poems because we've all got them. We've all written them. My first poem, But for the Lockdown, was written about a year ago. Started a lockdown and we were all kind of wistful and dreaming about the things that we probably wouldn't be doing anyway, but we resented the fact that we couldn't be doing them. So it's a sort of love poem. And like all poems, some of it is true. But for the lockdown. But for the lockdown, we would be drinking sweet hot drinks in the tea rooms of the Central Mosque in Paris. Birds flittering and whispering above. I would be stirring while staring at my cup as you breathlessly relate the catalogue of calamities that got you from home to here. We would be watching rain running down a window in a room at the Port Patrick Hotel. We would have run out of things to say. I would suggest that we go to the hotel bar. You would reluctantly agree. You would know it wasn't a good idea, but it will get us through the night. We'd be looking at antiques with no intention of buying in a shabby shop at Fells Point in Baltimore. The shop owner and I would be laughing as you burst into a spontaneous pogo when Sheena as a punk rocker came on the radio. You would be telling one of your stories, audience enthralled, while I eyed the buffet with trepidation on a tourist boat off Cape Town. I would be thinking of how much you love stories and wishing that you realised how good you were at telling them. We would be dancing at the Lead Mill in Sheffield to a song by a posh English girl singing about the kids in America. I would be laughing because you were laughing. Later, we'd watch some band that you like and I pretend to like because you like them. I would be watching silverback surfers slide on water as the sun rose over the Med and lit what used to be the harbour at Barceloneta. You would be waking soon, So I'd get coffees and pastries and take them back to the drafty tiled apartment. Or we would be right here in this tenement flat, looking onto another tenement flat. I would be making soup and singing. You would be writing something important, which would be much, much easier if I would just stop that fucking singing. But for the lockdown, we would be happy. Thank you. I'm imagining those claps because muted claps is quite weird to watch. I did this thing once where I was sent as a representative for Unite the Union. I was representing guys who worked in open cast coal mines at a kind of green environmental conference who weren't very happy about open cast coal mines. And I was there to try and find a compromise. And everybody sat, it's the first time I'd ever seen any of this kind of new way of doing things. So everybody sat in a circle. And I kind of, like, so when I was speaking to this circle, it was quite uncomfortable for me. And nobody told me that when people went like that, that it meant that they liked what you said, but didn't want to interrupt you with clapping. So I was like halfway through saying my thing, and all these sort of people were looking at me going, it just put me fucking right off, man. I thought it was like, I thought they were taking the piss, as if to say, you're a fucking idiot, like that. But there you go. But I can see that you're actually clapping and not saying that I'm an idiot, even if you do think that. But my second poem is it's quite a new one. It's called The Long Road. And it's a very typical poem for me. It's a kind of doleful, despairing moan of an old lefty who once again has to pick himself up from defeat and start all over again. It's called The Long Road. And it's one of my kind of hallmark card poems, I think. To those who despair, standing helpless against a relentless tide of disinformation, of defeats and setbacks, those who feel that they cannot ever win a battle, never mind the war, those who play a thankless part in a process that will lead to change, maybe not now, or in your lifetime or the next. Your every action and word have a meaning. They are part of a whole. For those who feel they are wasting their time, it's a long road to revolution, but without you, it cannot be done. You are the ant that carried the leaf that blocked the hole that saved the nest for the future. Those who do not know the importance of your individual act, you stood up, you took a stand, you fought, you spoke out. You are the history of the world, the catalyst, the glue. Without you, it would never have happened. Thank you. Oh. I mean that genuinely, that's you, just you. But that's not really, it's all of us. And my next poem's a kind of old poem. It's in my recollection, Come Looking Other Places. I think there's still a few copies of that left. And all going well, I have another collection coming out in the summer, at the end of the summer. Again, on the wonderful people at Speculative Books, who probably publish about half the people that I can see in this wall right now. It's which is great. And so I'm kind of working on that now with some of the poems you just heard there. This is an older one. And I wrote it in 2014 during the year of independence referendum. And I'd just been reading this a wonderful book, a brilliant book called The Vote, How We Won It and How It Was Undermined by Paul Foote, the late Paul Foote, who's a fantastic journalist. And after that, I wrote this, which I thought was apt for this week because it's about the fact that we sometimes we kind of despair at the lack of power you actually have. But despite the limited power, we do actually have political choices that we can make that can make a difference. So this is called The Undiscovered Country. I'll just have a drink, sorry. Sorry for my gruff voice. It's because of the lockdown and I'm working from home all the time, which means I can smoke at my work. So that's a fucking disaster. Anyway, The Undiscovered Country. It turns out it was there the whole time. It was right under our noses. It was hidden in plain sight. It was blowing in the wind and it was flowing in the sea. The world we knew was sat in the street with a cup from McDonald's, while the couple who walked past her without noticing discussed whether to buy matching 4x4s, each the price of 2 flats in Govan Hill. The undiscovered country had a commonwealth based on need, not greed, where that woman could rise up, lift up her cup and take her place in the world, bolstered by her share of the national take. The world we knew stayed at home, scared to go outside, scarred by the daily battle just to get through from one day to the next, aided and abetted by television and weed. The undiscovered country had a well-trained force, an army of social workers that would lift him out of the trenches, help him conquer his fears, and plant his victory flag firmly in the grounded society. The world we knew lived five to a house, one on top of the other, crammed into narrow streets, while unsold land lay unused, waiting for the right buyer at the right price. The undiscovered country had spare rooms, gardens back and front, a green and healthy community with space enough for children to play and people to share. The undiscovered country was there the whole time. It was blowing in the wind. It was flowing in the waves. It was toing and froing in the tides. It was glowing in the sun. It was there the whole time. But we chose to live somewhere else. Thank you. Thanks for that. I think I might have missed a bit of that one. I don't know. I'm kind of I get old now. I used to have this thing. Some people will remember this, but I had this really ludicrous, purist idea that I never wrote any of my poems down. Most of my earlier poems, the kind of better known ones, I wrote in my head, practiced them in my head, performed them in my head. And now I've been asked to sort of resurrect a couple of poems. I can't fucking remember them anymore. So that was a really stupid idea. If ever you don't ever listen to Jem Rolls, write them down. You know what I mean? It's like, well, not all, we don't all have those clever brains for as long. When you get to my age, you start to notice that, oh my God, why did I not write down? Now I've got loads of these brilliant lines for poems that I can't remember, which is good. I might do a poem that's just the poems that I forgot and the great lines within them. I've got even one that I set about not set in Northern Ireland, and it was and I can only remember one line for it. And the idea was it was about New Labour, and the idea of New Labour was to win the Tory vote, they would just become the Tories. And I imagine if that happened in Northern Ireland, if Sinn Féin thought, right, to win the Unionist vote, we'll just be Unionists now. And I had one line that I could remember, and it said, we'd get me back in fae the Huns if we turned our guns on priests and nuns, which was fucking brilliant, but the rest of the poems went missing. So anyway, so I'm not reading that one. This is going to be difficult for me. This is the first time I've read this poem. Hopefully I'll be all right. Hopefully I can be professional about it. But exactly 2 years ago today, I had to officiate at the funeral of my best friend. And this is a poem I wrote to him last year. It's the first time I've read this poem to other humans. And he was like the finest undiscovered writer out there. He was a fantastic writer. He was my best pal, and he was the most important man in my life. So this is a poem. It doesn't have a name. It's a tribute to the poet and author Matt Gilroy, also known as Jackie Gilroy. And I wrote your name on the wall of a derelict library. I talked about your glory to all and sundry, listed you in every check of gods and greats, and gave your work to random, bewildered strangers for free. I proclaimed you the genius of our generation. I quoted you in papers, printed T-shirts with your smiling face, your slogans, and read you again and again and again in bed. I needed to hear your voice once more, and again, to hear your name spoken by more than just me, so that I wouldn't lose your urgency and your influence wouldn't fade. I said that I would never cease from this. Your memory would be my mission, that I would always be your champion, so that you could never die. But die you did, and then fade, and then slide into legend, more myth. Only echoes and shadows remained. But still you call from far away somewhere, in the memory of a sunny day, an outdoor coffee spent talking about poetry and those who fought and died for liberty. It's just fleeting now, an occasional bolt, a corner of my eye, my mind, a reminder in a window, a song on a radio in a passing car, long since forgotten. There is no permanence, no absolute. Nothing stays the same, save the hurt, the missing, and the pain. Thank you. Cheers. I don't know if any of you remember Mark. He was a bit a shy guy when it came to reading out live and things. He had a couple of novels and collections of short stories that he self-published in his own thing called Single Cell Press, which was a fantastic publishing company. But if you ever get a chance, there is a band camp with his brother Gary Gilroy, who was part of again, you probably don't remember a band called Glasgow Gangster Funk. So he put Mark's poems to music and released an album last year. So you get Mark Gilroy on Bandcamp. He's a fantastic writer and poet and worth reading. So thanks for listening. It's my last poem. It's my lockdown one. I said I'd sort of bookend this with lockdown poems, and this is one I read. I guess it's probably the state of mind I was in, sort of mid-lockdown, and I guess I wasn't alone with it. The kind of absence of human contact and social media being your window to the outside world. So I'm going to finish with this one. It's called 10 Albums. 10 albums that have influenced my life is what he asked of me. 10 that had a profound effect on how I think and see. So I sought more information. How much influence would they have had to qualify for the list? Would it have to be life-changing? And could I include a greatest hits? That caused him consternation. Look, he said, it doesn't matter too much. Just ones with special memories that still mean something to you today and are not just accessories. Wait, I said, you have albums that are accessories that you don't see as necessities, that you bought for what? Decoration or to enhance your reputation? You know what I mean, he pleaded. I surely don't. It sounds conceited that you who buy music for its sense of fashion should seek to test my own sweet passion. Just leave it. I'll ask somebody else who isn't quite so serious. This is meant to be a bit of fun and not be so laborious. Calm down, I said. Just let me think. I opened the drawer next to the sink and from it took a shiny knife and threatened to use it to take his life. He quickly left, saying, fucking nutter. I turned the knife towards the butter to spread upon a loaf of bread. I didn't really wish him dead. I just wanted him to fuck off. Thank you. That was, thanks so much. I just want to say thanks again to Kat and Kevin for asking me, and I hope you all enjoy Alan Bissett's Gooseberry and enjoy the rest of the Sonnet Youth Weekender. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. That was brilliant. A great way to kick off SY Social Club Live, and brilliant just to hear a set of old and new stuff from the Jim Monaghan vault, the back catalogue there. Beautiful, beautiful work and a great way to kick us off. So yeah, those of you who joined us at the SY Social Club before, and just so I can plug it, you can see all the SY Social Club shows by signing up to our Patreon. It is a $5 a month, and you get 2 of the SY Social Club shows and a bonus podcast. So come and sign up and see more of this stuff. And yeah, if you've been to one of the shows before, you know that it's not just poetry that we're all about. We also love to have a bit of comedy. And I'm just going to go straight to our comedy guest just now because I don't know what's going on. Rachel Jackson, are you there?
Hello, everyone. Hi. I just wanted to, my mum and dad are here visiting me in Berwick-upon-Tweed, and my dad's the biggest show-off in the world. And so he wanted to come and say hello, hence his Hawaiian shirt, and look at him. Woo! Let's go surfing. So yeah, I just thought I'd come in extra. They're not, just a wee, this was the joke, basically. This was the setup. Getting to see 3 for the price of 1. They're both funny, so that's it.
I'm in love with that shirt. It's beautiful. It's so cool.
Thank you.
I feel like
that was that then.
I feel like I would sit that.
Jokes, and that's it. That's all you get. That's all you get, Kevin.
Leyla's just said the Jackson 3.
The Jackson 3. Exactly.
Have a great evening, guys and girls.
Have a good
Lovely to have you as part of it. You're now recorded for history.
I feel like that wasn't worth it.
I think it was, Rachel.
We tried. Thank you, guys. Listen, I don't know what's funny anymore. I've been living alone for a long time. I do not know what's funny anymore.
I was going to ask how it's been going, Rachel, but I feel like I'm getting a sense of it.
Honestly, you are getting a sense of it. My mum and dad come down and visit me like, once every 2 weeks now, just to make sure I don't kill myself. No, I'm all right. I should just say that now. Please don't get me sectioned. Although that would be like an escape at the moment. I would give my right hand to be sectioned right now. Just to get a change of scene.
She's okay. She's okay. Please, nobody phone the police on Rachel Jackson. She's okay.
I'm okay. I'm all right.
Rachel, you've been one of our favourite comedy guests at the Social Club, and it's so nice to have you back again. So, has it really been that bad? Has it really been that bad? You're living in, let's go back a wee bit, let's rewind. You're living in Berwick-upon-Tweed.
I am living in Berwick-upon-Tweed.
What prompted that particular decision?
I feel like I was getting to a point where I was running out of ways to get attention. And it was like, oh, I'll move to Berwick-upon-Tweed. That'll, people will think that's crazy and wild. And then 6 months in, I'm like, why the fuck am I in Berwick-upon-Tweed? Joke is over.
Good, but it was worth it for that 6 months.
It was worth it for a wee bit of Twitter attention. Whoa, man, why are you in Berwick-upon-Tweed? It was worth it for those 100 likes. 6 months on, what the fuck? I'm over it, man. I'm over it. I don't know why I'm here. This gives an indication of the next 15 minutes. No, I promise you, I've got some great new stuff.
Well, Rachel, I feel like I'm not going to hold you back anymore. I feel like I'm going to give you the stage. I want to know what has been consuming your mind. I'm going to let it pour out of you.
Okay.
Our audience, everyone at home, please put your hands together and give it up for Rachel Jackson.
Woo, thank you, everyone. I'm just setting my timer so I don't rabbit on. No, thank you, everyone. I did it for 100 likes. I don't even see what that says. Hello, everyone, and hi, Kevin. Kevin's here. Sorry, I meant the other Kevin. Sorry, Kev Hamill. He's like my biggest fan. He comes to all my gigs. Thank you, Kev. And Finn MacArthur, I recognise you from my last one as well. So that's me got 2 fans now. That's good. No, hi everyone. I found the first line of a new poem. Well, hello everyone. Yeah, I feel like, because I drink, this is my favourite drink. Give me a thumbs up if you like Dr. Pepper. But I feel like Dr. Pepper's slogan is just like heckling my life these days. I'll tell you what's the worst that can happen, Dr. Pepper. I'll tell you. Getting dumped on WhatsApp just before the pandemic after a 4-year relationship. And then, a worldwide pandemic to boot. And then moving to Berwick-upon-Tweed by myself. That's about it, Dr. Pepper. So, cheers. No, it's been hard. I've not had sex for over 17 months. Yeah, I've not had sex since my ex-boyfriend. So it's been 17 months. It's been so long since I've had sex that I'm starting to think that Jigsaw Faceaw has like sewn up my fanny for my own protection. You know those horror films? Give me a cheer if you like horror. You know what? Because no one's laughing out loud because I can't hear any is, I can just pretend this is going brilliant. So that's what's good about being muted. But if you are enjoying it, give a thumbs up or do a clap or, all that kind of stuff. All the wee emojis and all that, because it is pretty crazy doing it to no laughs. But I feel like he's sewn up my fanny. Sorry, right back in there. you know when that wee cunt comes in his wee tricycle, like with the fucking clown mask, he's like 3 foot. Like I feel like it's like some sort of joke now. Like that's how long it's been. That I'm gonna wake up one day and I'll look down and my fanny's been sewn up, and then that wee fucking cunt in the tricycle will come in, and then it'll press the record button and it'll be like, Rachel, I have sewn up your vagina for your own protection. If you have sex with one more unavailable... Sorry, I always fuck this bit. Kev Hamill knows this is a new bit. It's a new bit. I'm working on it. I'm working on Jigsaw's voice. But I have done this for your own protection. If you have, do you like the commitment of just going straight back into it? This is like my audition for SNL. I don't think Jigsaw's been done as a character on SNL yet by a Scottish bird. So this is it. Right. I have sewn up your vagina for your own protection. If you have sex with one more unavailable... Oh, no, I've done it again. Fucks. I have been alone too long. If you have sex with one more emotionally unavailable man, your vagina will explode. And to be honest, at this point, I would take it. It would just be like, you know, I feel like that's all that's left now is for my fanny to just explode. Like, that's it. And not in the good way. The only time I get an orgasm these days is when I watch Friday the 13th. And there's like a scary jump moment. Because that Jason guy, he's a fucking unit. Can you imagine bumping into Jason in the forest, man? Like, that's when you know it's been a while, when you're getting an orgasm for Jason. I am currently writing an hour of horror material, in case you're wondering why I'm doing so many. I feel like I'm so far into the pandemic and I've not had sex for so long that I'm starting to feel myself attracted to Leatherface for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is why I need to ask at the start if there's any horror fans in. Otherwise, you're just like, what the fuck is she on about? But I feel like I'm genuinely attracted to Leatherface for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre now. He's like my dream man. And I'll tell you why, because I know you're like, what the fuck? At least he's painting himself to be a psycho. At least you know what you're getting with Leatherface. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to gaslight you for 4 years, then dump you on WhatsApp. You know straight up what this guy's intentions are. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like me and Leatherface will go out and I'll be an amputee by the end of it. I'll have no arms, I'll have no legs, but I'll be like, you know what? I'm still here. I've still got my torso. You know, in fact, that I would consider that a good relationship right now. Just having my torso left. Do you know what I mean? I told you it's been a while. I'll tell you why, really why Leatherface is my one true love. Can you imagine that cunt carving your turkey on Christmas Day? Oh my God, you'd hear him revving up his chainsaw and you'd be like, now we're in business. And I swear, it'd be like watching Christian Bale prepare for a role. Seeing him fucking get the chainsaw going and chop up that turkey. It'd be like a Swedish performance art piece. It would be beautiful. So that's number one. And I'm a pescatarian, so that joke doesn't even really work. But also, I would fancy Leatherface forever because you would never get bored of him. Because see, every guy I fancied, I would just get him to kill him. And then he could wear his face. Do you know what I mean? So I would never get bored of Leatherface. That's what you're getting with Leatherface. This is all very, very new material, by the way, everyone. Like I say, it's like, is it funny or have I spent too long alone and I have actually turned psycho? Another reason I would like Leatherface is I do love fat guys. That is my fetish. And I didn't really like make people aware of that until the pandemic, but I love me a fat guy. So Leatherface has got like the perfect fucking stature. And what I would do is, because, you know, like I say, I know he's going to kill me, but he'd come in at the room with his chainsaw and his fucking Harry Styles on his face or whoever I'd commanded him to kill that week. And I would just be like, right, mate, I know you're going to kill me. I know I'm going to be an amputee, but can you just at least come and pump me first and just put all your body weight on me? Because I'm really, really into it. And you can have the chainsaw going in the corner. I don't care. It's been a long time, guys. It's been 17 months. Anyway, I feel like I should address Buffy because I've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer in the back. Give me a cheer if you like Buffy. Got any Buffy fans in? Thank fuck for that. Because I'm like all this horror and sci-fi material. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. Something that happened to me pre-pandemic when I still felt like there was hope in the world. I went over to Los Angeles. It was 2018. And I went over there and I actually went to the real life school that Buffy, you know, like the scenes from Buffy, like the school that it's shot at. Yeah, Kat's like, what? Yeah, it was incredible for any Buffy fans. So obviously it's called Sunnydale High School in the show, but in real life it's called Torrance High School. And it's in a place in LA, just outside of LA, called Torrance. So I spent a fucking fortune getting to Torrance in an Uber, but I was like, it's going to be worth it. I'm going to get to go there. So I go all the way to Torrance High School and I was just totally blown away. But I decided that wasn't enough and I had to take it one step further. And because weed is now legal in California, I decided I had to go and get a joint, right? To like really like reclaim my, because when I think of being a teenager, it was me getting stoned and watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Am I right? Am I right? So I went into this little shop in LA in the middle of Torrance, right? And bearing in mind weed's legal. And I went in like, one joint, please. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. No problem. And the thing is, because I'm one of those really annoying people that I smoke one joint and I turn into Spud for train spotting. I'm like that. Oh man, I'm fucked, mate. I'm fucking like pure out of it. And it's like you've smoked fucking half a joint, love. Chill out. No, but seriously, like it's always had a major effect on me. I love marijuana. See, the fact that I call it marijuana shows you that I shouldn't be smoking it. But anyway, it's so weird not hearing people laugh. I'm telling you, it's so fucking weird. Oh, thanks for the cry laugh, Donna. That was just as I was about to give up. So I needed that. Thank you. No, so anyway, my ex-boyfriend, the cunt who dumped me on WhatsApp, we don't really talk about him anymore, apart from in my sets. But he got really annoyed with me once because we smoked a joint. Now, bearing in mind that I smoked a lot of weed in my earlier years, but then I went a bit mad, I smoked it too much. So I gave it up for years and years and years. And one night, me and my ex smoked a joint together. And honestly, right, I was like, oh, I had like 3 puffs. And I was like, oh, the thing is, Michael, you've not even met the real Ajax, eh? Like, you see what I put out there to the world, eh? But like, you're going to see a new fucking Ajax tonight. Like, I feel like I'm really starting to come out my shell and this is the real me. And he was like, you're just acting exactly the same as normal. But when you're stoned. So anyway, here I am in LA. I've just seen Buffy school. I go and get my joint and then I come back and I sit outside Torrance High School and I smoke my joint and I'm getting stoned and I'm looking at the school and I'm just like, oh man, I feel like I'm 17 again. This is incredible. And then I actually phoned my friend because I logged into their Wi-Fi, and I called my friend and she answered it on, FaceTime. And I was a bit stoned and, because when I'm stoned, I turn into Spud. And she answered and I was like, oh, look where I am. And I turned the camera around so she could see the school. I was like, look familiar? And she's never watched Buffy. So she was like, no, not at all. Kat, I should have phoned you. You would have been psyched. But, I forget that not every cunt's watched Buffy. Not every cunt's obsessed with it. Kat was telling me earlier she's got that poster as well. This is like a fucking original, man. So anyway, here I am and really stoned and seen Torrance High Schools, or what I know is Sunnydale High. And I'm feeling like this can't get any better, but I feel like I want to get a bit closer at this point. Do you know what I mean? So I walk over the grass and I get right up to the window and I look in, I'm a bit stoned. And that's when suddenly all these wee faces turned around and looked at me. And it was at that point I realised it was a real school. This whole time, I've been thinking it's a set. I've been thinking it's a film set and it's closed. And suddenly I now feel like a pedo because I'm leaning into this fucking American high school window, stoned out my tits, and just seeing all these wee faces. These wee American kids look around. Who's that crazy lady? Thank you, Kat. And like I said, you know what it's like for anyone who does smoke weed, or even if you don't, you know how paranoid it can make you at the best of times. And so I start like fucking like backing off slowly, like, oh no, I'm not a pedo, eh? I'm no pedo, So anyway, like you've really got to make that clear. Anyway, and then when people say that they're not a pedo, I mean that's a fucking flag. Anyway, do you know what I mean? So I'm like slowly retreating from the school, and stoned. And then a security guard comes out because they've obviously seen that this is an American high school. Like, and I'm white. I'm probably a high school shooter for all they know. Like, do you know what I mean? So anyway, this scary security guard comes out, right? And she was like, what the hell are you doing? And I've still got like my joint in my hand. And this is when I remember that we're in 2018 and Buffy ended in 2003. And that it's very weird that I'm here. Because it's not like, you know, Game of Thrones that was still on then, that if you went to one of the sets or whatever, there's going to be about 300 people with fucking like cameras and all that. I'm the only cunt there. I'm there like 15 years too late. And she was like, what are you doing? Like, school is in session. Like, you can't be here. If you want to like take photos or whatever, you need to be here after, because I'm taking photos. Like, I look like a pedo and I'm like, I've got drugs for them and everything. Do you know what I mean? This is not a good look. And she was like, why are you here? If you want to have a look around, you have to come back after 3. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought the place would be fucking mobbed, eh? Like, it's fucking 2018. No cunt cares about Buffy anymore. Anyway, that's basically the end of that story. Like I say, I'm still working on it. I'm working on a punchline. Oh, thank you, Donna. But yeah, honestly, I was stoned. It was not cool. But I got my dream of getting to be stoned outside the school that Buffy and Xander and Willow went to. Anyway, I've got a wee minute left. So yeah, I've not even been on a date. Well, in fact, I went on one date last year, you know, when things were open again for a little while. And I went on a date with a guy in Manchester, and he looked like Liam Gallagher. So, and I'm a big Liam Gallagher fan. He sounded like Liam Gallagher. And that's where the comparisons unfortunately ended. He told me he was a professional gambler. And I was like, that's exciting. You know, professional poker player, he said. I'm a professional poker player. I get there, we go to a pizza restaurant, and as soon as we sit down, he said he wasn't allowed to see his kids. And he told me, yeah. And you wonder why I fancy Leatherface. Like, come on to fuck. You know, this is what you're subjected to. And this was on Bumble. I've not even put my feet in the water of Tinder yet. Fuck Tinder. Brilliant line for a first. I'm not even allowed to see my own children. And I said, right, okay, so you're a professional poker player. What does that entail? Do you go to Vegas? Do you do it on the telly? He said, oh no, I just sit in my room and do like online poker. I was like, oh, so you're a gambling addict who's not allowed to see his kids. This is not the sexy Liam Gallagher thing I was hoping for here. Anyway, I could rabbit on to you for longer and longer. There's so many stories I could tell you. Dating straight men is the absolute, I can't even see what you said, is the absolute pits. Yeah, tell me about it. That's why I fancy fucking Jigsaw and Leatherface and Jason. I tell you, the only other time I get an orgasm is when my Fitbit reaches 10,000 steps, because it vibrates on your wrist and it just gives you that, oh, that's just that little second of what an orgasm used to feel like. But anyway, I'm gonna leave Berwick soon. I don't think it's good for me. I think I'll move to a bigger and better city again. But yeah, thanks for listening to all my shite. A lot of it's very new, and it's very different when you're not in a club with people laughing out loud. But I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you very much for having me. If you like my stuff, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, and yeah, you can give me some love there. But I've been Rachel Jackson. Have a great night and good luck with the rest of the evening, Sonnet Youth.
There we go, Rachel Jackson, direct from Berwick upon Tweed.
You're telling me.
The kind of insightful and slightly chaotic set we've grown to love from Rachel Jackson over the last few years. Yeah, we've got a couple of acts still to go. We've got lots of poetry still coming your way. But I'm going to break it up just now in the middle, and I'm going to do a wee poem for you before we get on to our next guest. So let me just bring it up for you here. This is a new one. I've done it a few times before, but it's still got that new poem smell to it, and I'm looking forward to doing it for you now. This is called Mediocre White Man Blues. I hear them like a military choir, singing a stereophonics chorus, an army of stale pasty men put on this earth to bore us. Old Spice is a chosen scent, dick pics as pick-up lines, even Stevie fucking Wonder could read the warning signs, stinking of desperation, reeking of booze. I've got the mediocre white man blues. I've got the mediocre white man blues. I've got the mediocre white man blues. It's up to me to pick and choose. I've got the mediocre white man blues. There's a wanky student at the party, not embarrassed to show it. The poor fucker's read Bukowski and he wants you to know it. Starts quoting lines of Joyce like he's the first cunt ever reading them. If he starts on the Dostoevsky, I'm sticking the fucking heat in him. A conversational turning of the screws. I've got the mediocre white man blues. I've got the mediocre white man blues. I've got the mediocre white man blues. Don't got to read no social cues. I've got the mediocre white man blues. Dissecting five-a-sides like it's the World Cup final. I much prefer their earlier stuff and it sounds better on vinyl. Tell us about your fitness regime. So unrelentingly grim. Who needs a personality when you've got the gym? Slip your trainer socks into your Bolton shoes. I've got the mediocre white man blues. I got the mediocre white man blues. I got the mediocre white man blues. No need to hide my problematic views. I get the mediocre white man blues. You can't say anything nowadays. You tweet to your 10 followers. No irony to be spared amongst your clan of keyboard warriors. This isn't a free speech issue. There's no overflowing queue. You've not been deplatformed. Just no cunt wants to book you. Who let this wank on the 10 o'clock news? I've got the mediocre white man blues. I've got the mediocre white man blues. I've got the mediocre white man blues. Pictan Rand is my chosen muse. I've got the mediocre white man blues. All the opportunity that was promised has been stolen from me, served up silver platter style with a diverse snowflake decree. The future I was entitled to has been taken by those who want it. My story is old, been told, shoved down throats till we vomit. Maybe I need to admit I'm responsible for the spew, because I'm a mediocre white man too. I've got the mediocre white man blues. I've got the mediocre white man blues. Nothing left to learn, nothing left to lose. I've got the mediocre white man blues. Cheers. Thank you very much. It's Sonnet Youth Social Club, which means that we want you to be social. Jump into the comments. Let us know what you're liking. Let us know what you're loving. Interact with our artists, because we run entirely on validation. It's what we need most in life. Please help us out. We're starving. Get in those comments and let us know what you're thinking and what you're feeling. But it's time for us to invite our next guest up to the stage. One of our favourite artists, someone who's performed at different kind of eras of Sonnet Youth throughout the last few years in different venues and different places, and a great friend of the show, Leyla Josephine. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. I'm really loving tonight. Like, I've not really done much poetry recently, so it's like so lovely to be listening to stuff. But also, I think I met one of the blue mediocre men that you're talking about the other night on like last Friday. So I was like, asked this guy for a light, first night out in the pub, like the energy's like quite high anyway, everyone's like really manic. And I'm chatting to this guy, I'm asking for a light and we're smoking or whatever. He's like kind of like a skater dude. I can't remember what we're talking. Oh, maybe he asked me what I did actually. I think he asked me what I did and I was like, oh, I'm a writer, trying to give him the short answer. And he goes, oh, I'm reading Jack Kerouac on the road at the moment. And I was like, oh, right, okay, yeah. He was like, oh, have you read it? I was like, yeah. Do you know what? I got about 2/3 of the way through and realised that I really wasn't enjoying it. So I just stopped. And he was like, oh, it's the best book ever written. And I went, it's all right. Like, I understand why people like it, but for a woman, it's not like that interesting. Like, he just like shags loads of women and they've got no kind of arc or whatever. And this man literally had a meltdown in front of me. He started saying, I just don't know how to talk to women in bars anymore. I just don't know how to do it. Feminism is out of control. And I was just like literally watching this poor man like break down in front of me. And I was like, are you okay? And he just like walked away from me. And it was just like, that's, it's a red flag. It's like saying your favourite film is The Wolf of Wall Street. If your favourite film is stay
I love
away.
it. I love it. It's like, what's that Instagram account? It's like, beam me up, soft boy.
Beam me up, soft boy. Yeah. Love it. And Nirvana.
Like, I thought being a soft boy sounded like a really nice thing. I was like, oh, maybe I'm a soft boy. That sounds really cool and nice. But apparently it's just like being a pure wank and pure loving Bukowski and Kerouac.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, it is what it is. These people have to exist as well.
They do, because else, what do we have to judge ourselves against, Leyla? Exactly.
Also, what would we talk about?
What do we write poems about? Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. You know, we don't want to not centre our lives around white men and their problems, so got to keep them relevant in some way.
Please
I'm only,
do. Please do.
I obviously understand. I obviously understand that men have their own struggles and obstacles, but also this guy was a wank.
So apart from being assaulted by the problems of weird people at the pub, how have you been? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I've been fine. I think like it's been a really tricky time for everyone, and I think the difference with this lockdown is that everyone's had a really individual experience, because some people are working, some people aren't, and then when the first lockdown happened, it felt like we were kind of all in the same boat. We all had a bit more extra time. It just felt like we could kind of be more of a community, where that as this point has definitely felt more isolating because everyone's kind of on a different page. But yeah, it's been difficult, but hopefully we're coming out the end now, fingers crossed.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just so good to have a night like this where we can still connect and still kind of be in the same virtual room together. Although I'd like to be in your room where it's got like lovely plants and stuff. It's so nice.
Yeah, it's a bit like Jumanji. It's getting out of control. But yeah, no, I love having the plants around. I can look after the plants more than I can look after myself, actually, which my therapist pointed out, which I was kind of
That's why they get paid the big bucks. Well, Leyla, I'm going to let you take over the rest of the session. I'm going to give you the stage now. But everyone who's watching at home, everyone in our audience, please make some noise for the one, the only, Leyla Josephine.
Thank you. I'm just trying to figure out how best not to look at myself. No, I can't. It's not happening. Right. Okay. So it's been really tricky as a poet or a writer, because it just there's fuck all to write about, and also I can't remember my poems anymore. I'm so out of practice, and also the bits in between the poems I was never great at, but now I'm even worse at because I have no idea why I'm saying them. So please come on this journey with me and don't judge me too much. And I usually when I'm teaching or whatever, I always tell people never apologize for your poetry before you do it, because it's a sign of weakness. Well, I'm just doing it because I actually genuinely am feeling quite weak and vulnerable, so be gentle. Okay, so this first poem is called Weep, and I'm going to try and remember it. And I wrote it because I don't watch I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out Here, but it just happened to be on TV one night. Went on it, this guy that I don't even know, celebrity, I'm not sure who he was, got removed from the camp. And I just started crying. I was just oh my God, it just must be so hard. And I realized why that is the level of tears. Just I'll start crying at that's the base level at anything. So I wrote a poem called Weep. I cannot stop crying. I am a dam overflowing, a spot squeezed, splatted and snotted. I am a open wound seeping, a rainforest downpour. It would seem that I am spilling from my seams. I am a tidal wave, a tsunami. If only you could see me. My banks are breaking, the buoys are bobbing, the boat's rising. I am unable to control myself at the telly. I cried at I'm a Celebrity, a plea to a charity, a dog trust advert, children winning tickets on the radio to a concert. I could be paid to weep for a widow at graveside. Recently, there hasn't been a day I haven't cried. I could fill a bath. I could run a river. I could star in an opera. No limits to my drama. I could boil my tears to make you a plate of pasta, as long as you didn't mind the salt. I have been broken in at my vault, and maybe I'm just crying for the swell of it, how it all oozes into our edges and soaks us to our toes, how some things shine and others are unfair to the bone. Just give me it all. Don't ever let me close back up, because feeling it is the only thing I've got. That is Weep. Thanks. I wasn't actually going to do these, but then when everyone else was talking about having sex, I was I want to talk about sex. I have sex sometimes, occasionally, When you're in a long-term relationship, it is definitely less, but you know, it still happens sometimes in different ways. And the other thing is, I always kind of got uncomfortable about doing like sex ones in bars, because generally you'd get people coming up being like, oh, so you like sex, do you like me, and wanting to take you home. But now I'm already home, so that saves us a trip. So this is called Pervert, and I wrote it, I think maybe I was a bit horny. It's called Pervert. Bare breasts, flesh, and wee denim shorts, bruiser forearms, pink dicks, and dirty fingernails and armpits. The knobbly knees and wobbly thighs, streaky tan like bacon ripped off the skin I give into in between the toes. The clatter of teeth, the white seep in my hair, hips bending in impossible ways, tongues and tongues and tongues and tongues, and pillows with bite marks and socks kept on. How glad I am I walked shame to the door, gave it its bus fare, and sent it back to wherever it came from. Pubes fluttering like eyelashes, making wishes on tummies, jelly slipped off hands like honey. Make me the experiment. God is only raging because he can't fuck it. Press me onto the bed sheets, or better yet, let me inside of myself. A dip into yours truly, those black holes swallowing stars. I am wide open, a tunnel, a mouth, a lake, a hole, a dig into myself. Find the light, find the bottom, find the treasure, the heaven. Don't stop, I am almost there. I mean, that is, I honestly feel like since lockdown, all I'm writing about is sex. I think that I was distracted before, and now I'm just like Rachel, I'm thinking about it a lot. Or just being alone a lot, you know, when you have, like, when I'm in the house quite a lot of my day, you know, you take a nap, you have a wank, you make a cup of tea, it just kind of goes in that rotation throughout the day, doesn't it? Jim's nodding head like, yeah, everyone's in the same boat. I think we need to talk more about this. Let me normalize it. The next one is called All of It, and it's about having sex in a car. I like how you touch me whilst you're driving, eyes rolling on the road ahead of us. I'm slipping, dripping, sipping on you, burying myself in your nape. Escape, push, pull back, an elastic attack. No need to fake it. You're the best at it. Side of the road, clip it for me, lick its spine, baby. Feeling you tangle and tease, or clapping our knees just a little bit at first, and then all of it. I want all of it. I'm blushing, sorry. How embarrassing. Okay, so the next one is one that I wrote for the International Book Festival. They were doing this kind of like, I don't know, international event where they had like loads of poems from poets from loads of different countries writing about what it meant to be from their country. And I had like 3 months to write it, and I left it until 2 days before, because I was like, I just don't know what to write. And I was alongside all these like amazing poets, and I was just like, this is a really hard topic to write about, I think, being Scottish. So I decided to go to the trusty old list, which is what poets go to when they can't figure out a structure or how to write. They write a list. It works every time. I love writing lists. And this is called What It's Like Being Scottish. It's like sticking your charger into a plug and forgetting to press the switch. It's like reaching the last hurdle in an Olympic race only to realise that you can't be arsed today. It's like you are a bag of quavers and an elephant that lives next door keeps thinking that you are a seat. It's an advert for toothpaste, but the model's got no teeth. It's like shouting, "It's shite being Scottish," into the mountainous abyss until the abyss takes off his glasses and agrees with you. It's like learning where you grew up is now a car park for one of the big B&Ms. It's like a buzzard on a lamppost waiting for something to change. It's where the wildness meets her cage. It's like forgetting to take the bins out, even though they've been full since last week. It's like putting your shoes on the wrong feet. It's like the soft, malleable metal that needs heat to conduct. It's being clever, but knowing better than to act smart. It's like reaching the last hurdle and realising a joke won't get you over this one. It's like being told you're too much, but knowing deep down that you're probably not enough. It's where the blind eye was first invented. It's a neighbour in her dressing gown patting you on the back, saying, "You're all right, you're all right, you're all right," when you're clearly not all right. It's like you are a spotty bum cheek and someone keeps whipping you with a wet towel and you keep saying that it's really funny even though it hurts and you want them to stop. It's like coming to terms with what is and what always will be lost. It's where heat finds the moment, anger masks the sadness, and toast melts the butter. It's like being a 1p piece dropped to the bottom of a fountain. It's like reaching the last hurdle and forgetting why you're running. That's called Being Scottish. On the note of being Scottish, I'm going to do 2 wee short ones about politics. Which is something like I don't tend to touch because I don't feel like I've got a huge amount. I mean, it's just one of those things that people can make you feel stupid about, right? It's like you get into a conversation and then someone it just becomes this like ego frisbee game and you're just like, fuck this. Like, so sometimes quite hard to have a position. But one thing I did have an opinion on was Alex Salmond, because I really randomly it's such a long story, but pretty much I was at the Fringe. He was doing this stupid Scottish thing where he was doing this like Scottish show where people would come and sing Scottish. And my mum bought a ticket and she was like, I can't go, do you want to go? And I was doing a Fringe show at the time and I was like, fuck it, I'll go, I want to see what it's all about. I actually had tickets for Fleabag afterwards, but I was like, fuck it, we'll go. It was a really hot day. We get there, we watch this pish. It was honestly the worst thing I've ever seen. It was like so cringy. And they halfway through, they're like, oh, and we've got this auction. And if you bet a certain amount of if you give a certain amount of money, you can go for lunch with Alex Salmond afterwards. And me and Maddie, my friend, were like, fuck, can you imagine anything worse? Another hour. Can you imagine? But then the 2 birds next to us got the highest fucking thing. And it was a table for 4. So they're like, do you want to come with us? And we were like, we have to go. We have to go see what this is all about. So we end up going to the George. I'm wearing a see-through top with like a little bra underneath. And I was like, this is like inappropriate. So we run to H&M and I'm like, I'll get a shirt or something. Go back and we're late to this like brunch. So we go in, it's like all the stars of the show. Janie Godley's there, like everyone's like eating finger sandwiches. And he just stands up and he's like, oh, these lovely lady. And then licks our hands like a fucking frog, right? And it was just horrific. So sit down anyway. I wasn't actually meant to tell the story. I was just meant to do the poem, but here we are. So anyway, he does this thing, and when you're in the company of people that have power, sometimes you let yourself go and you get into these like ego conversations where you kind of are trapped in the conversation and you start competing and it all happens so fast that you leave and you're like, what the fuck was that? Why did I just completely undo myself in there? And that's what this poem is about. Sorry, I didn't mean. Anyway, he didn't get any votes, which is brilliant. Sorry if anyone's an Alex Salmond fan, but he's horrific. So this is called An Interaction with Alex Salmond for the 9 women that cannot be named. Everyone showered him with ego over finger sandwiches at the grand table. His smile diamante wet in glass, a salesman with nothing to sell but himself. His assistant was drenched in Chanel and herded us like sheep. Her eyes scanned us up and down as if we were thieves. The show started and we gaped the pantomime, personalities plated. An obedient audience, we sensed when to clap, gasp, laugh, shake our heads, when to shut our mouths. His glitter was faceted, and we closed our eyes, dazzled by it. I left feeling dirty and opaque. I had undone myself in there, spellbound by fool's gold, the rush of it all. The papers repeat the word alleged, the way a drum keeps a rhythm. It sets the tone for the rest of the read. But the graphics still manage to push through and sit with me on the sofa, working late, pencil skirts pushed around waists, clammy hands, yellow skin, unshaved and old pants. She was underprepared for this allegation. She alleges he hunted her. A heavy word for a piece of meat that lays flat and plays dead, but we all know exactly what she means. He is a magician, and he promised us freedom. And we are white bunnies with scarlet eyes to be finally released from black hats, and we excuse him because we are desperate. Fear is not always in screams, but sometimes submissions clapping at the right moments and shutting up when you're told. Women know what it's like to be presented to a crowd like they are just playing a part, shown as a whole, but they have just been cut in half. That is an interaction with Alex Salmon. But it's great because he's no longer a magician. He's out of here. He's out of here. This is a poem called Good With Our Hands, and this will be the last of politics. I don't usually do politics, but I felt I've been watching the election all day today, so I thought it was important. And I wrote this a few years ago now, actually, when the SNP, I read an article that the SNP through Scottish Enterprise had donated 15 million to various organisations that had been making arms. And one of those factories is actually quite near to where I live in Pressic, and just feeling really like disheartened by that. And I wrote to my local MP and they were like, gave me like such a vague answer. So I wrote this poem. I mean, that's all you can fucking do, isn't it? Write a poem. Not that it makes any difference. But anyway, so this is called Good With Our Hands. We are welded from workers with a sturdy way of life, metals and bolts, then planes and boats, now tech and innovation. Blue and white, men and women who are good with their hands, my country's pride. There are factories tattooed across our lands, hidden in the hills. High-tech airborne radar, advanced lasers and electro-optic systems made in Scotland but exported worldwide. Scottish fingers fiddle to find solutions, lanyards bouncing around necks like nooses. They eat their lunches nonplussed in the cafeteria, no matter of Yemen, of Syria. Drones, warplanes and missiles made behind wide smiles, warm accents and cartoon thistles. My country is good with its hands. That is My Country's Good with Hands. How am I doing for time? I wasn't meant to do all the talking in between. Am I okay, Kat? Do a few more. I've got 3 more. Is that too many? She doesn't. 2 more. Oh my God, how will I decide? Okay, so I'll do the cheery stuff. Why not? Fuck it. Okay, so this one's called The Good Stuff, and I wrote it, and I'm going to try and remember. I messed up earlier. It's a list of things that I really love about life, and I wrote it, another list. For any budding writers, just go to the list when you're struggling. And I wrote it before lockdown, but now it feels more poignant because it's a lot of things that we can't do. And this is the good stuff. The smell of garlic, grass, petrol, pals, poems that make you weep, tits, you filling your arms with me. The way town looks at Christmas, the moon and how it always comes back, expensive pens and red swimsuits, diving in, hair finally long enough to tie in a pony, plaits, armpits, elbows, collarbones, pubic hair and belly buttons, all in and all out, all bodies of water, all bodies of sky, the sound of cereal hitting the bowl, freckles, constellations, scalding hot water bottles, the smell of the rubber reminds me of my mother, someone to take your temperature, sweat in summer, snow, dew, fruit pastel ice lollies, things that fizz, child's pose, happy baby, learning how to say no, finding your keys, your phone, your wallet, your vibrator, pictures of you when you were a child, the mosh pit, the war ending, people saying sorry and meaning it, how easily forgiveness comes, patterned wallpaper, flamingos, penguins, whales, kissing strangers on dance floors, the cha-cha slide, your friend's bed, laughing with their loves, bookshops, libraries, printers that are working, postcards, handwritten letters, hotel rooms, and the orgasm on the freshly made bed, blackheads, the edge, the chain, Fleetwood Mac, islands, horizons, eating fish and chips, skin, your period, finally coming, waking up from deep long sleeps, blood coming out of the sheets, satisfying sentences, the tongue of your hometown windows. Oh, I am so grateful for windows and grandmothers and finishing books, a film that sticks on you like a stamp, finding a painting that is more like a mirror, backpacks, bikes, circles, wheels, bats, birds, weddings, stretching, reality TV, the tops of mountains, contact lenses, the right shoes, all dogs and their ears, easy peel oranges and easy bowel movements and drivers waiting for passengers running for the bus. That is the good stuff. I don't know what to do now. I think I'll do When I Go. This is another kind of cheery one. It's kind of meh one, but I'll just do it. It's fun. It's about me dying. I was like, if I'm going to die in this bloody plague, what would I want people to remember me about? What would I want people to remember about me? So this is called When I Go. When I go, think of me laughing. I did it more often than cry. But then think of me crying because that was important too. Think of me in a garden or a park, hoisting myself over a gate in orange wellies and bare legs carrying wild flowers and garlic. When I go, tell them that I was easy and gave myself to every one, that my love and lust was for many, not for a few. Think of me in a toilet stall, peeing with the door open, making pals with strangers, smoking by the exit and belting ABBA. When I go, tell them that I was indecisive, that I could never stick to one thing. Tell them that I lapped up life like a beach laps up the sea. That's When I Go. Thank you so much to Cav. This is the most talking I've done in so long. Thank you so much to Kev and Kat for having me. I mean, it's kind of amazing what they've continued to do, just like giving so many poets and performers and comedians and musicians opportunities to continue to perform. And you know, they do it without any thanks. So you're amazing. So thank you so much. And yeah, looking forward to watching the rest of it.
Thank you so much to Leyla Josephine. That was amazing as always. Cav is what me and Kev would be called if we got married. That's our Brangelina. Maybe we should start using that instead of Sonnet Youth. So yeah, thanks everyone for all the comments. It really does add something. Usually we record this and then put it together afterwards. So having all your comments at the side really makes a difference. We are going to put links to all of the artists at the end, but artists that have been, feel free to put links to your work, as I know lots of people would want to buy your books and help support you. We also have tomorrow, which is a full day of events as well. So tell your pals if you've been enjoying tonight. Spread the word on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, word of mouth, whatever, because we have some tickets left and it'd be great to see some more people come tomorrow. So it is now time for our headliner. We have a Zimbabwean poet, performer, musician. Welcome to the stage, Tawona Sitholé. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
It's great to see you.
It's good to see you as well. I think the last time I was on a stage was with you for the Words That Burn
Yes,
project
yeah.
at the Mitchell Library. So how have you been this past year?
Yeah, I've been my usual self, trying to be grateful despite the difficulties, because I think I keep going back to my parents' attitude to things. So yeah, I've been looking at the difficulties, but I've been also remembering that, you know, the good things that are happening. So yeah, that's been my state of mind through the year.
That's good. So quite positive. And what have you been up to this last couple of weeks? Obviously, we're in a sort of period of change just now where things are beginning to open back up. Have you been taking advantage of that? Have you got any projects on the go?
Yeah, thankfully, you know, the creative stuff is going okay. And I've been trying to get out in the garden. Everyone is planting, but I'm too scared of the cold. So all the things I promised I'd do in the garden are not happening. So my wife is kind of not very happy. She's reminding me of all the things I promised I'd do. But yeah, it's been good to get some time outside, you know, with all the times we've spent, you know, between the four walls.
Yeah, I totally get that. And what are you going to be doing for us tonight? This is your Sonnet Youth debut, I should say. This is the first time we've had you on, so we're super excited to hear your stuff. Yeah, what have you got planned for us tonight, Tawona?
I generally kind of let the moment do what it does. So let's see. I'll do a story as well. I think I'll start with a story. And yeah, I need to thank you and Kevin for, you know, putting this on. I know that, you know, it's amazing what happens there. There are, you know, there are certain people who just work really hard to give other people a space to perform, because, you know, you make your stuff, but then you need somewhere to showcase it. And it's not just about, you know, setting up the space. The space is what the space is made by the people who host it. So yeah, it's good to be in your hands, and it's great to see Kevin. I've not seen you in a long time, but yeah, I was enjoying the mediocre white man's blues. The little chorus is ringing in my head now. So
I know we'll all be going to sleep with that going around in our heads. Okay, well, your set sounds fantastic, bit of storytelling, and then see where it takes you. So I'm going to give you the stage now. So please, everyone at home, make lots of noise for Tawona Sitholé. Woo-hoo!
yeah, so I should share with you guys. Some of you know Robin Cairns. He gave me the coolest nickname there is. He calls me a Zimbabweji. So yeah, you can work that one out. I'm going to play a short bit of Mbira to start, and then let's see how it goes. Can you hear that okay? Just a snippet. So I've got a task for everyone tonight. Not only for tonight, but going forward. It's great to be in this gathering. One of the things that's important about the gathering, you know, the gathering is a sacred space, not for any kind of weird reasons, but because when we come in the gathering, we, you know, there's so much that we leave with at the end of it. We don't come out the way we came in. We're transformed in whatever way. So yeah, it's great to be here in the company of people I recognize. And it's great to meet you, Rachel. Loved your set. But I'm scared of horror films. So I used to double up with my little brother when we were kids. If you watch the horror, we would double up at night, you know. So yeah. So yeah, the gathering is a very important space. So I need to greet you all in the spirit of the gathering, of celebrating each other by saying Hekani. So Hekani. I'm going to start by, you know, giving you this task. We've been living under a sort of a bit of a difficult time, but we've also been oppressing ourselves with language, I feel. So, you know, it's been quite difficult, this whole, the language we've been tying around ourselves every day, you know. So I wonder if there's other ways we can describe this situation. So that's the task for you all, to think about different terms that can describe what life has been like, because the terms have been very harsh, you know. This idea of social distancing, I don't know how that one came about, because it doesn't really make sense. Social distancing, isolation, and all these kind of words. So I feel like on top of all the things we've had to deal with, we've been oppressing ourselves with language too. So for the, how many of us wake up without an alarm in the morning? Nobody. Kevin. Okay, Yeah, this first one I'll do is, you know, my parents were, you know, they grew up in rural Zimbabwe, so something about that discipline. They woke up without an alarm, but I'm not of that generation. We need the alarm, you know. But so the idea of waking up to alarm every day, you know, without not the alarm, the sound, but with the concept of alarm. This is what this is about. But it's a mixture of Ndawe and Shona words from Zimbabwe. So here it goes. It's called sound escapism. Kwaragwash, jam jam, zaid, zaid, nyum nyum, kokonya, kokonya, didig, didig, ridibu, ridibu, pidigu, pidigu, gwengwendere, zariatat, hokoy, hokoy, ovio, ovio, munyovo, munyovo, jambanja, dagu, dagu, janga. How else can the day go when woken up by alarm? That's it. Yeah, so I'll tell a story. I love stories. My grandmothers are the storytellers in my family, and yeah, they were quite amazing at the spoken word. A lot of my appreciation is in retrospect, unfortunately, because when I was younger, I didn't really, you know, I looked at my parents and my grandparents in a strange way. I was a little urban boy living in the suburbs in Harare, and thinking my life was great with the lawn and the yard and all that. And but slowly, small things, you know, noticing how amazing the humble life my grandparents were kind of leading. But anyway, I love stories from that, and of course, reading and all that comes together, you know, story. So I'm going to share with you a story about the past year, which I think I've held on to that story. It happened in rural Zimbabwe in an area called Chiredzi. A woman took her kids to the riverside. So she was going fishing. 2 little kids, and she was on a spot fishing, and then all of a sudden she heard a noise, screaming, and then she turned around. One of the kids wasn't there anymore at the edge of the water. So you're like, what's going on? So she just sprinted over, you know, the kind of the moment just took her, and she ran over, adrenaline pumping, and she noticed that the other child was just disappearing into the water. Child had been grabbed by a crocodile. So immediately she just jumped in. What's the mom going to do? You know, she jumped in, and for some reason, this is the part of the story. For some reason, she remembered, you know, because we turn to the elders all the time, and they tell little anecdotes, and so she remembered in that moment. For some reason, she remembered at some point some elder mentioning something about a crocodile. If you press the nostrils, it will open its mouth. She remembered, don't know how. Jumped in the water, went up to the crocodile, pressed the nostrils, crocodile opened its mouth, she pulled the boy out. And a sort of badly injured leg, but the boy is recovering now as I speak to you. So yeah, so that story is my story of 2021. I guess because it just kind of, it shows something about resilience, and it says something about there's a lot inside that we don't recognize maybe. So that's why maybe I love that story. So yeah, that's my story of 2021. So now I'll move on to keyboard malfunctions. Option, Control B, Enter, Home, Shift, Control X, Control V. Oh no, delete, 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 del, de, D. Oh no, Control Z, caps lock, num lock, insert, space, FN, select, find and replace, Control C, Control V. Oh no, escape, escape, escape. Not responding, escape, not responding, escape, not responding. Oh no. That's it. Okay, this next one is called the station area. I will not explain it. I will maybe talk about it afterwards. I'll just say it. The station area. We are sorry to announce that the 1948 service to equality in rights and dignity is delayed by approximately countless minutes of countless meetings. Please listen for further announcements. The next train at platform 3 will be the delayed 1945 service to unity, peace, and security. If you see anything suspicious, please report to a member of staff. Passengers are kindly reminded it is not permitted to dance, smoke, or make love in the station area. The train now arriving at platform 4 is the shuttle service to 71 nations and territories, representing a third of the world's total population. This service is running on time. Delays are expected on the southern line due to ongoing signaling problems. The train now at platform 2 is the delayed 2000 service to a better and more sustainable future. This train is now expected to depart at 2015. Due to adverse weather conditions, surfaces may be slippery. Passengers are kindly reminded to take extra care in the station area. We are sorry to announce that the 1948 service to equality in dignity and rights is delayed by approximately countless minutes of countless meetings. Please listen for further announcements. Passengers are kindly reminded it is not permitted to dance, smoke, or make love in the station area. That's it. Okay, so the next one is called Somewhere in the Dance. So the station area, if you notice the times and dates, somewhere in the dance, listening to my relaxation tape, the soothing sound of leapfrogs, when something, somewhere, somehow does meanly mute my amphibian choir. I switch to a new relaxation tape, that graceful galloping of zebrafish. But somehow, somewhere, something does stem the stream of my Piscean peace. I sample a different relaxation tape, the neighborly neighing of unique unicorns. Again, somewhere, something, somehow does harshly hush my horse-like harmony. I skip to a different relaxation tape, the humbling humming of hummingbirds. Yet somewhere, somehow, something does shamefully shush my buzzing bliss. I stick on a different relaxation tape, the breakbeat of the hip-hop kangaroo. Still, something, somehow, somewhere does stubbornly stub out my marsupial magic. Desperately, I press, 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 play, 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 play. Leapfrogs leaping, zebrafish galloping, unicorns neighing, hummingbirds humming, kangaroos breaking. But somehow, something, somewhere in the dance is a curious cause, causing my relaxation tape's tapestry to stitch to a stop. That's it. So yeah, as poets, we fight with words, we wrestle them, we agonize over them. We wake up at 2 a.m. to write a line that you won't need the next morning. All that kind of stuff. But sometimes I like just writing little short pieces that just kind of cheer me up sometimes. So a few little short ones for you. So this one is called Little Thinking. When I was little, I used to think that since firefighters fight fire, then it must be that freedom fighters fight freedom. That's it. Market value. At the market, you must believe the price of a mango without seeing the tree. That's it. And then common sensitivity. It is the duty of the mind mature to remind the nose not to frown at manure. It is food for the rose. States of mind matter. When it comes to mind, schemers don't mind rigidity, easier to lift, lay, and play. When it comes to mind, schemers don't find fluidity, easier to lift, lay, and play. When it comes to it, states of mind matter. I feel the need, but feeling a bit numb, I need the feel. That's it. Okay, I'm going to do a piece that is in two parts. It's great listening to everyone, earlier, and just enjoying so much, the connections that happen. You kind of recognize yourself in a lot of what people are saying. And Leyla, when you were talking about those conversations that you shouldn't have had, but you can anyway. So there's something interesting about listening. I'm thinking a lot about listening as a practice, because listening is one of the things we do very early on in our life before we learn other skills. We even do it in the womb. We learn to talk after almost a year of being alive, and all this stuff. And so, but then when we get older, it's it somehow goes into the background. Someone was saying recently that we listen to respond. We don't listen to understand. Yeah, we just, I don't know whether we're so full of information in this information age. We treat conversation like skip rope. Just waiting, jump in, and you just stop hopping. So I'm quite keen on listening, because I noticed myself that, you notice how much we don't pay attention to that. So it's something that I try to really pay attention to. So I have coined it as, so this whatever this ill that we are battling with, I've coined it as the disease of expertise. We all kind of, we have a certain topic that we know loads about, and as soon as it comes up, we're like, oh wait, I'll wait till they're all done, then I'll really give them the stuff. So anyway, disease of expertise. It's in two parts. I will start with the awaiting room. Flicking through a copy of How to Know the Know-How, A View of the Experts, Volume 9. From here on, referred to as HTKTKAVOTE V9. I am in the awaiting room, awaiting, fiercely needing healing, so a doc of any sort will do. Doctor, document, documentary, and so I'm here, flicking through a copy of How to Know the Know-How, A View of the Experts, Volume 9. From here on, referred to as HTKTKAVOTE V9. Fingertips tipsy with the thrill as I tiptoe my way around the highly intoxicating pages of How to Know the Know-How, A View of the Experts, Volume 9. From here on, referred to as HTKTKAVOTE V9. I am in the awaiting room, awaiting, Funny symptoms are no laughing matter. The awaiting room is heaving with expectation. All of us here are waiting a bulletin, a clip, the whiz kid, a chip, something, anything. We want things quantified by someone qualified in How to Know the Know-How, a view of the experts, volume 9. From here on referred to as HTKTKAVOTEV9. We need a specialist, one who has the gist. We want an ologist to attend to our condition. Funny symptoms are no laughing matter. The waiting room is heaving with agitation. The infected and affected are waiting, slowly mutating from patient to impatient. Tensions start running high at the announcement the vaccine is in short supply. Funny symptoms are no laughing matter. The awaiting room is heaving with desperation, jostling, jockeying, overriding the appointment system. That's part 1. So, part 2, disease of expertise. Look what Hakata do inside the shaker of human hands, and what Hakata do outside the shaker on way to land. Look what Hakata do, percussion. Look what Hakata do, repercussion. For I, who finds myself sitting, trying to stand, this outlandish place, there is such a strong presence. I'm not sure which doctor says, come back another day, but not in those words. Come back another day. Look what Hakata do inside the shaker of human hands, and what Hakata do outside the shaker on way to land. Repercussion. For I, who finds myself again sitting, trying to stand, this old soul technology, there is such a strong presence. I'm not sure which doctor says, your ailing is your failing, but not in those words. Your ailing is your failing to read. The situation that you have not been flicking through a copy of How to Know the Know-How, a view of the experts, volume 9. The volume is not the issue, but the appendix. How to Know the Know-How, Phantom Facts by the Ghostwriter, volume 9. Often also referred to as Manifesto of Self-Significance. There is such a strong presence. I'm not sure which doctor says, your sickness is your quickness, but not in those words. Your sickness is your quickness to write on the wall of the gazebo of placebos, where you sit in graceful poise of poison, tending the wound that time cannot heal. And when it's time for reflection, gazing at yourself in the mirage, like a mushroom, you've been growing in the dark, stumbling upon obstacles of self-design. Nothing about this is random. Obstacles of self-design come in formation. They gather information. There is such a strong presence. I'm not sure which doctor says, your malaise is your delays, but not in those words. Your malaise is your delays in arithmeticing 2 and 2 together, a horse and a pedestal together with vertical views, a thicket and a forest together with the wildest animal of all, an unanswered call of free spirit together with an unanswered call of open mind, all together now, a kind of unkind mind, wear and tear and swelling of the tongue is telling. Funny symptoms are no laughing matter. Deadly serious is shortness of breath caused by prolonged bouts of unmodulated speech. Deadly serious is loss of muscle tone of the ears caused by lack of use. Funny symptoms are no laughing matter. Deadly serious is persistent cough caused by lack of thought clearing before speaking. Deadly serious is numbness of necessity. Simple things keep things simple, and still casting a shameless shadow, speaking of the supernatural as if you've exhausted learning and understanding. Funny symptoms are no laughing matter. Deadly serious is disease of expertise. Look what Hakata do in the shaker of human hands, percussion, and what Hakata do outside the shaker on way to land, repercussion. That's it. Kat, can I tell a quick story to end? How's the time? Very quick, very quick, very quick. I will round it up. I will not do my usual, elaborations. So, times are hard, right? Not just pandemic, but times, financially, stuff. All the rich folks are looking to the side, sorry. Times are hard, and we need a character for the story. Quickly, anybody. I need a name.
Ewan.
Huh?
Ewan.
Ewan, thanks, Leyla. So Ewan is struggling like the rest of us, except for the rich folks, of course. Where I can see you guys looking at your shoes now. So Ewan is struggling like the rest of us and looking for work. It's not happening. Getting all the different versions of no that exist. You know those letters. Have you ever kept your letters of rejection? Anyway, struggles, and then eventually gets an interview. Does the whole thing. The kind of tell us how much of a team player you are, but really tell us how much you shine above everyone. Those kind of interviews. It's weird in interviews. What do they want from us? Anyway, does the interview and then is told, oh, we'll get back to you. Just wait, we'll call you. Goes home, Ewan goes home, chills, and then a few days later the call comes, and guess what? He's got a job. Brilliant. Given the address, turns up at the address, and let's imagine it's the old days when we didn't have smartphones. He's holding a bit of paper, looking at the address, and it's a zoo. What? Zoo? Okay. Double checks at the entrance, and the guy at the security says, yeah, come on in. You're in the right place. Goes to the manager's office. Manager says, oh, thanks for coming, Ewan. Just wait here. Goes in the next room, comes out with a chimp suit. We need a name for a chimp. So the chimp has died. The favorite chimp of the zoo, the main attraction, has died. We need a name for the chimp. Filbert. Brilliant, Jenny. Thank you. So the manager sort of goes here and says, Filbert died, and we can't get ourselves to tell especially the kids. So we need someone to stand in for Filbert while we get a suitable replacement. So Ewan, times are hard, right? Everyone is saying yes, except the rich folks. Don't worry, look at your shoes at this point. So Ewan figures, well, I'm covered. No one can see my face. I could get away with this. Puts on the chimp suit eventually and goes out, shown his little area where he's supposed to do his thing. So yeah, goes in a bit nervous at the start, and but then after a while starts getting into it. The kids come and they kind of interact with him. So he starts getting really into it, and but then he gets into it a bit too much, leaping around and all that. And then one time he leaps, and then he just keeps going, and then he's seeing himself flying over the little wall, lands in the next enclosure, and guess who's sitting there? It's a lion. So the lion turns on and just makes this big roar and starts charging towards Ewan. And Ewan is screaming for his life. The lion goes, and the lion comes and grabs Ewan. Ewan is screaming at the top of his lungs, and the lion goes, stop screaming, you'll get us fired. Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening. Thanks so much.
There we go. That was Tawona Sitholé with a quite frankly amazing set of storytelling, poetry, and little pieces of his mind that I feel have now melded with mine. And it was really beautiful to hear your voice again and hear you perform again, Tawona. Fantastic stuff. Let's take a wee breath. We have just over 10 minutes before we need to go to the next event, which is enough time for us to thank all of our acts tonight. Kat, would you like to come in and say hello as well?
Hello. Yes, I'll do the honours of thanking these 4 legends who've made tonight just so much fun. I feel like our minds and our hearts are just full from all of your talent. So thank you again to Jim Monaghan, to Leyla Josephine, to Rachel Jackson, and to Tawona Sitholé, who you saw there. It's just been an absolute pleasure. Please make sure you check them all out online. And just thanks so much, everyone, for turning up tonight. We've got 10 minutes to go and recharge our glasses. go for a quick pee, and then we'll see you at Alan Bissett's house party. So I have been one of your co-hosts, Kat Hepburn.
And I have been Kevin P Gilday. Thank you so much for joining us at the SY Social Club Live. It's been absolutely fantastic. We're going to see you over Alan Bissett's house party in just 10 minutes. There'll be no more poetry. Don't worry, no more poetry. It's just tunes and dancing from this point forward. So we'll see you all there. Have a brilliant night, everybody. Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Bye.